This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning and thanks for getting up with us on your Sunday. I'm China Green. This morning on Sunrise, a musician has his instrument back. How a clerk helped return the stolen property. Plus, Multnomah County leaders announce a new plan to address homelessness. What does that plan look like and why did it take so long to get to this point? But before we get to all that, let's check in with Ashley Grams for a quick look at the forecast. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, China. Great to be here with you today. It is already a wet Sunday out there. Some fairly heavy rain last night into the early hours of this morning, and it's going to stick with us for just a little bit longer. Let's take a look at some of those temperatures right now. 47 degrees in Portland, 49 in Vancouver, around in the 40s in Troutdale, Hillsborough, 51 in Aurora, so a bit warmer than we saw yesterday. The coast just a little bit warmer as well. 55 in Tillamook, 55 in Astoria, 47 in Corvallis, and I think everyone, at least on the western side, is seeing some of this rain. We have a few things to talk about. That rain, how much we're going to get, and when skies start to clear. If you can make it until 12 noon today, it's going to dry out. We're going to get a chance to enjoy this Sunday afternoon, but we have a whole week ahead with a mix of weather, sun, rain, something for everyone. We'll get to that 7-day forecast in a minute. China.
Ashley, thank you. Nearly a month after he lost it, a musician has his stolen violin back this morning. Fiddler and composer Alistair Fraser came to Portland last month for a performance. While here, someone broke into his van, stealing his violin and bows, his partner's cello, and other equipment. But as Evan Watson found out, an eagle-eyed clerk helped recover his instrument.
In disbelief, really, and then eventually with a big smile on my face.
On November 13th, someone broke into Alistair Fraser's van, parked in a downtown Portland parking garage. They stole his violin and his partner's cello just before their performance. Fraser put up signs and visited violin shops, asking everyone to look out for his longtime fiddle. Weeks later, Fraser had, regrettably, started looking for a new violin to play.
I was realizing how difficult it was going to be.
Then this week, he got a call.
When I first got this phone call, I just thought it was some kind of trick, or I thought this can't be real.
At David Kerr Violin Shop in Southeast Portland, longtime employee Andy Emmert had spotted something.
Seeing that violin, my reaction was, I think that could be the one. Like, that's the one that Alistair said that had gone missing.
Emmert says a couple walked in to sell the violin, its double case and 4 bows. The shop bought it with a check, quickly realized it was Fraser's stolen instrument, and then canceled the check. They called Fraser, who took a flight to Portland at 5 in the morning the next day.
I still couldn't really believe it. I had to go put my hands on it, and then kind of touch it.
Fraser, a world-class Scottish fiddler, reconnected with his longtime companion.
A glorious moment, and I feel very fortunate to not only for this to happen to me, but to be able to share a good news story. Because, man, do we need a good news story.
Back home in California, Fraser said he was thinking of an optimistic and proud song that he wrote.
Here is a tune I wrote for my dad called Rob Fraser's Welcome to San Francisco. There's something very simpatico about the instruments that we use, and that we become very finely tuned to the instrument itself. So it's like picking up part of your own body.
He says he'll get back to performing in the new year, re-energized to write and play music.
It's an honor to lead a life following the fiddle, as I always say. So we'll be back in Portland again. We can't wait to come back. And we are really, really thankful for all the support that the people of Portland showed for this. It resonated.
Fraser says he wants to encourage people to come to live music concerts. He also wants to use his experience to shine light on income disparities in American cities. Police in Longview say a person of interest has been arrested for stabbing a man outside of a tire shop. Friday morning, officers were called out to do a welfare check behind Superior Tire and Auto. When they got there, they found 48-year-old Brian Waitley dead at the scene. Longview police say Waitley was waiting in the parking lot to begin his work at the tire shop when he was stabbed. Detectives later arrested Gilbert Platt. Police say the two men knew each other. Platt is being held in jail on murder and robbery charges. Clark County fire investigators are working to figure out what sparked a deadly fire at a motel in Salmon Creek neighborhood. This happened along Northeast Highway 99 at the inn at Salmon Creek. When fire crews got there Saturday morning, there was no smoke showing, but there was a fire in one of the rooms. Firefighters quickly extinguished the fire, then found a body inside one of the units. Turning now to our homeless crisis. This week, Portland and county leaders announced a new plan for how to address the issue. And with it comes a lot of what they're calling bold ideas and new long-term goals. Blair Best explains.
Gotta lower that mic. Good morning, everyone.
Out of the rain and inside the Multnomah County boardroom.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jessica Vega-Peterson.
City and county leaders talked of new plans for addressing homelessness.
And we've been working intensely to develop this approach and a new way forward for our community.
That includes their proposal to extend the Joint Office of Homeless Services for 3 more years. That's the county-run program formed in 2016 to oversee funding for homeless services. The current contract expires in 6 months.
The proposal we're sharing with our commissioners turns the page on a relationship that has been fraught with misunderstanding and mistrust, and worst of all, a system that is not as effective as it should be.
And with this comes a long list of what some would call lofty new goals, including identifying the number of people experiencing homelessness separate from the point-in-time count and getting half of them off the streets by December 2025.
We are setting bold goals of achieving new and attainable measurable outcomes.
Now, let's not kid ourselves. None of this will be easy, but we are far more likely to succeed when we work together.
Under this new agreement, the city and county will be required to report updates on this work and publicly share how much money is being spent and where it's all going. As for how much the city will give the county, that's still unclear.
We don't have that answer yet.
There will also be a new oversight committee called the Homelessness Response System, along with a goal of making sure 75% of the people housed stay indoors for at least 2 years.
We need to urgently provide more shelter options and get people into safe spaces.
We hear so much about affordable housing, more shelter, but the underlying issue out there is addiction. How can we possibly house all these people without enough addiction services?
You said it right. You said addiction is the significant issue we're facing. Data shows 2 things to be true, and that is the longer that people are on the streets, the more likely they are to develop a substance use disorder, and the more likely they are to develop mental health afflictions. That being true, then part of the answer has to be to get people out of those unsanctioned, potentially dangerous, potentially squalid conditions in unsanctioned camps and into something else.